because I know, Virji, you listen to CNN often, so I know you get your news from a
way less than I used to. But yeah, I mean, look, MSNBC.
Nothing wrong with CNN though.
MSNBC is extremely left. Fox News is extremely right. So most of the time, getting the news in general from CNN. But with I understand, I get it. So I'm being careful, but I also pop over to some of the other things and pay attention. What they're saying.
What you should pop over to, and I'll just say this to the audience, especially more maybe the older audience. I've learned more on Reddit.com when it comes to personal human experience, because it's not about, to me, the headlines. It's about what's under the headlines, what's under the actual people writing about their personal experiences. I'll give you an example. When the Beirut explosion happened.
Yeah.
I could read real time people telling their experiences being in Lebanon.
Giving their eyewitness account. They were there.
And not just even being there, but the idea of they're experiencing this event. It's not from a journalistic perspective.
Right.
You're an outsider writing about an event. You're actually living this scenario. You then have the passion to, basically say, hey, look, the government has neglected these things. They haven't cleared out whatever this substance was. And, they're giving this real account. So I would say, mainstream media, it has its purpose, but in the realest sense, I think in today's world, to build, at least in my view, the most well-rounded, or at least a better well-rounded, even outside of the normal just cable news channels or just regular broadcast news, you really, if you can dive deeper online, not just, I'm not even mentioning you because I know you even do this, but getting out of Facebook, those are all bubbles.
Yeah.
When you have your friends all saying the same things, yes, it might be true, but it's important to empathize with those that may not have those same views, because, well, that's where, if you truly want to change the minds of others, which the gurus, obviously we're the experts at that. When you can, within Gurbani, to be able to tap into someone's psyche at a level that will transform them, that's a very profound thing. And I know you mentioned to me many times over time that the main kind of, thing that the one of the most powerful things someone can do is change your thinking.
Yeah.
And the guru, with the idea of gurmat, is changing your thinking in a spiritual way. And that will reflect in your worldly ways you act and so on. But in the end, where if you're in these bubbles, you will not be able to empathize with those people that may be those Trump supporters that are equally human beings, that are equally with the Atma within them of Vaheguru, that you are trying to spark or further their lantern of Vaheguru within them, not to have this as a patriarchal approach that, hey, I'm the one who knows God and you are dark. And no, but in the sense that, yes, there is darkness and light. Yes, the gurus, we would say, were the beacons of light. Yes, we would say people like Aurangzeb were the darkness in the world. Yes, we would say the gurus even said, like in the Zafarnama, that please, was it Aurangzeb, change your ways, join the brotherhood of mankind, join the good side. Just like in Star Wars with the Force and whatnot. Yeah. But the idea, though, you must empathize. You cannot be like Antifa. You cannot be seething with anger to try to off with the heads with not the gold-tipped arrow, but you do it with, if you're doing it with vengeance, with I just want to kill them. That is completely wrong.
Yeah, and in this day and age, it's maybe a gold-tipped tongue, because
there you go.
What we're not paying attention to, and I absolutely agree with you on this point, because what's happened is, first of all, even Trump or anybody, Wade Michael Page, the racist that attacked in Oak Creek, all these people, Gurbani has already told us that they are suffering from Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar, just like the rest of us. And some people suffer with it so much they act out.
Yeah.
Right. Like if your ego is so big that you can't hear a criticism of something you said, and so you have to double down on it and then go find people to prove that what you said is true, that's your ego acting out. It's not that he is a force of evil, because Ik Onkar doesn't leave any room for evil forces. Right. There's no evil forces in ek onkar. Ek onkar
Right.
is
Right.
Waheguru is one.
Right.
And there is no enemy of Waheguru. There is nothing with power
Right.
against Waheguru, right? So that's why when we say timeless and all powerful means there's nothing with any kind of power against,
Right.
nirpo, nirvad, no enemies, because there is nobody who could qualify, no being could qualify to be the enemy of something that is all powerful and just one. So
sorry, go ahead.
But I was just going to say, so there's no evil force, but we do that. We label. So we'll label Trump as bad. Then we'll go and say anybody that supports him is bad. And then we'll go a step further and say, if you are a Trump supporter, I don't care if you die, just defriend me. I don't want to have anything to do with you. And now we just isolated ourselves from a human being.
Right.
Maybe they're ignorant. Maybe they are justified in the way they think because they've had a certain life experience that has drawn them towards whatever answer they're seeing there. And when we cut ourselves off, we're not having conversations anymore. And then the problem just gets worse. And that happens in the Panth. That happens in the Sikh Panth.
Right. Oh, yeah.
We have different groups.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, like there's Sikh missionary, and then this guy is a Guru Nindak, and that guy is this. And now we can't talk to that guy, and we're going to beat him up, or we're going to protest. It's like, no, we need to talk.
Yeah.
We need to be having conversations. When we're having conversations and we learn to understand from their perspective, we don't have to agree with them.
Right.
But we can understand their perspective. And understanding their perspective now, maybe you can come up with a better way to get your message across. When you can get it when you have a better way of getting your message across,
there you go.
You're now sharing and changing.
Yeah.
And now it's at real time, actual change.
No, that's so important to even what's going on today. Obviously where with these divisions, if you don't build those bonds, you won't have that, unity. And from the Sikh side, obviously the idea, I love this idea of the gold tip tongue, because it really brings together the idea that now today's, force that we're using for good is the pen, is the tongue. And at least in more majority than just, hey, let's whip out the guns and the swords and whatnot, where, one thing that I've been critical with, I think with you and my, on my thoughts of, general mainstream Sikhi is people have so much attached themselves to the macho, I don't want to call it macho, but in the sense of, hey, the guns, the this, the that, the talwars, let's, all the mighty parts of it, where the idea though is, what were you telling me once? You said maybe it wasn't you, but I think you would understand this. Even the ones that were the most, fierce warriors were also the softest poets.
Right, right.
So that philosophy that you do not just, resort to this because you're drawn to the idea, we have this history of a martial type tradition.
Well, it romanticizes everything, right?
Right.
If I talk about Baba Deep Singh to anybody, everybody knows the story of Baba Deep Singh drawing the line in the sand with his, 40 kilogram or whatever. I don't even know how heavy they say it is. His sword, his big khanda is, huge. And then the story that everybody remembers is that in battle, he had his head cut off and he had sworn that he would, die in the Prakarma of the Bar Sahib, and that he rode headless, holding his head, and threw his head into the Prakarma, and then that's how he passed away. That's how he was shaheed. Right. So we romanticize those stories. And I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm not saying it did happen. I can even imagine a way that it could happen, scientifically speaking. We can justify things, and we learn things all the time that explain things. So I'm not trying to get into that so much.
Yeah.
But that's not who Baba Deep Singh was. Baba Deep Singh was a scholar. He was a master of languages. He was tasked with writing Guru Granth Sahibs into different languages.
Right.
Okay. And it wasn't an easy task. It was very difficult because you had to know those languages well. Wow. And you also had to distribute these things. His work wasn't on the battlefield. His work was scholarly.
Right. It's the behind the scenes people don't see. They want to see the action part. You don't see the production behind the scenes.
And actually, that's why he was able to be such a dedicated warrior to the Guru, because he was already in service of the Guru for something with the same level of commitment, right? So it was just natural. Guru Sahib says, here, copy these granths and distribute. Right. Here, go fight this battle.
Yeah.
Here, go clean this area because we're going to do a Divan.
Right.
Here, go prepare langar.
Right.
To the Gursikh that's dedicated to the Guru, it doesn't matter what the task is. It's just done with 100% dedication.
Right.
Right.
No, and so, I love this that you do just need to be so compassionate. If you don't build those bridges with people, you don't have that, in this case, you're committed to the Guru.